Hello everybody, this is Mr. Rob and welcome back to episode number 31 of the New Orleans Pelicans MyLeague series here on NBA 2K20. Today we're going to have some Summer League action as we wrap up the offseason portion of the series, so get ready for year number 2 shortly. If you're excited for that, make sure you like and subscribe down below for more Pelicans content and for the hype. So before we jump into the Summer League, I'm going to show you guys our Summer League roster. Now, between our 5 picks in this previous draft, as well as second-year players Zion Williamson, Mitchell Robinson, who we acquired from the Knicks in the Lonzo Ball trade, Michael Porter Jr., Jackson Hayes, and Nickeil Alexander-Walker, really didn't have to bring in a lot of players outside of who is already in our organization. We brought back Zylan Cheatham, who played for us in the G League last year. We brought back Jahlil Okafor to give him a shot at this offseason in the Summer League, just to maybe fight for another spot on the roster. And we brought in Udoka Azubuike, the undrafted guy from Kansas, who we watched dominate Texas Tech last year. Now, with the whole thing going on in real life with the COVID coronavirus, for the Summer League, I'm just kind of treat it like the playoffs got kind of randomized, and we got randomized the first overall seed, and we're going to be playing the Pistons in our first Summer League game. I'll guys show you all this, all the tournament games that we play in, and just kind of go from there. So this is like our first Summer League game, and we highlight the Pistons first round pick Deni Avdija for them. I know I switched that, I'm sorry. Here are the lineups for both of our teams, and one thing you'll see from our team is Cole Anthony is not starting at the point guard. He suffered a pulled calf muscle in off-season practice, so we're going to kind of give him a rest, and he will not be playing in the Summer League. As you see, we're starting off with Jahmius Ramsey. That means he has a very big opportunity in front of him, the first pick in the second round from Texas Tech. Jahmius Ramsey has a chance to really show himself and prove himself, maybe being the backup or third point guard in a rotation. So for the Summer League, I'll just kind of show you the highlights. Mostly it's going to be our highlights of our guys, kind of talk about our guys, talk about the highlights, but there still will be some highlights from the other teams. You see Jahmius Ramsey, look at that quickness, just getting the ball, driving right past his man and going straight to the rack. Jahmius Ramsey was probably the most impressive player for us in this game. Jahmius Ramsey really did a good job leading the offense, leading the charge, and putting up a lot of points for us. But I would say his defense does leave a lot to be desired. He still struggles defending the perimeter, staying with his man through screens and stuff like that. Maybe he can step up that point later in his career, and I think if he does do that, he will be a very solid player one day. But as of right now, he's been a pretty solid pickup. I'm happy with that pick. As you see, look at that vision. Double team, passes it inside, finds the open Mitchell Robinson. As Mitchell Robinson will be our starting center for this upcoming year. We acquired him in the Lonzo Ball trade from New York. He will be the starting center. Derek Favors was not brought back. He signed a 3-year deal with the Charlotte Hornets. And then we see a couple highlights from Jackson Hayes. Jackson Hayes, I hope, really steps up his game. As you see him right here getting another easy bucket down low. I'd like to see Jackson Hayes step up and be that backup center, but he really didn't have a good rookie year at all. He played good at times. He showed some flashes, but just wasn't enough to really solidify the spot. And then we went out and got Vernon Carey Jr., who's had a couple highlights in this game as well. He played really solid. He was originally selected by the Hawks, but the Hawks traded that pick to us this past draft. So the rookie out of Duke will also be vying for backup center minutes with Jackson Hayes. Also see Nickeil Alexander right here. That's a bad pass by Alexander Walker, but he missed basically all of last season as the Pistons with a nice driving kick. Good play by the CPU right there. But Nickeil Alexander-Walker basically missed all of last season with his injury. I think it was a broken leg. So it's good to see him back. He didn't play overly great here in the Summer League minutes. And then if you remember in the last episode, he did regress during the offseason. Look at Jahmius Ramsey. Look at that body control, driving past his man, getting the contact, finishing with the right hand. I just had to stop for that play. And see him once again breaking down the defense, finding Reggie Perry this time for an easy 2. But back to what I was saying, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, he's really got to fight for minutes this year. I mean, we have backup point guards this time in Jeff Teague and Jahmius Ramsey. So he can't be that shooting guard who plays a backup power or point guard position for us. And the shooting guard position, we are kind of stacked. We have Jrue Holiday, JJ Redick, as well as a couple of other young players down there. So Nickeil Alexander-Walker, another man who might fight for minutes I don't want to say sour on him really quick because he was a mid first round pick last year. As look at that alley-oop from the Pistons. But he's really going to have to fight for his spot. As you see, here's Mitchell Robinson, Jahmi'us Ramsey dishing it around to Carey Jr. He pulls up from the mid-range and is able to knock that one down. So I'm excited for him. You know, our other 2 draft picks were 2 second-round picks, Aaron Henry, Reggie Perry. Aaron Henry, the other shooting guard that Alexander Walker will compete with for minutes. And then Reggie Perry, and we are kind of, if there's one position we're kind of thin on, it's the power forward position. I mean, obviously we have Zion Williamson, but the only other listed power forward on roster is Reggie Perry, the second-round pick from Mississippi State this past year, our last pick in the draft. So Reggie Perry could get some minutes right out of the gate just because we're kind of thin at power forward. And then at small forward, we only have 2 small forwards as well, and that's Michael Porter Jr. and Brandon Ingram. So we are a little thin on the forwards. Jackson Hayes can play power forward if need be, and JJ Redick can play small forward if need be. So we have a couple of guys who can kind of flip-flop to those positions, but no true forwards besides the 4 listed. Let's take a look. This game starting to go down to the wire. 64-64. Good pass by Jahmi'us Ramsey to find Carey, who's able to drive and score. And here he goes, 68 tied. Look at Jahmi'us Ramsey getting open off the ball. Pull up straight from 3, knocks it down. Jahmi'us Ramsey mulls that shot down. Now it's 71-68. Off the rebound, Jahmi'us Ramsey's going to push it up. Gets stopped by his man. Pulls up out of nowhere and knocks down the mid-range 2. So Jahmi'us Ramsey obviously scoring a lot. And look at this, Pistons getting open off ball, knocking down the clutch 3 that ties the game up at 73-73. 10 seconds to go in the game. Kings driving on Williamson, tries a fancy spin but gets his own rebound, finds Thomas, gets open from 3. Alexander Walker played a little too soft on him, and now the Pistons up 76-73. 2.2 remaining. We're going to give it to Ramsey, and he's not going to be able to hit the buzzer beater. Pistons win this game 76-73. That knocks us Pelicans out of the Summer League tournament, so we only get to see 1 Summer League game from us. As we take a look at the stats, Jahmi'us Ramsey had 23, 7, and 7. That's a good stat line. Carey Jr. had 10. Those are the only 2 players that had double digits for us. Mitchell Robinson. Azubuike had 8 points in 8 minutes. Very impressive for the undrafted man. Hayes had 6. Zion only had 5. Didn't really ask him to do too much. Alexander Walker did have 10 rebounds. Jrue Holiday had 4 points in his 12 minutes. Not really impressing enough to be brought back to the team. As you see a couple other stats from our guys. Aaron Henry didn't score, and Cole Anthony obviously missed the game with a calf muscle. So we're going to simulate the rest of the Summer League, see who ends up winning the Summer League as we go to the semifinals. Suns, Pistons, Cavs, and Celtics. So it's going to be Suns versus Celtics. And in the finals, the Celtics win, and Tyrese Maxey was named your Summer League MVP. So now we go to the All-Star selection. It looks like Philadelphia is going to get the All-Star game for the 2021 year. 76ers were the Eastern Conference champions this past year before being downed by the Lakers in 5 games, but they will host the All-Star game this year, and the 76ers coach will be one of the coaches. So good for them. Training camps, we have 2 training camps to send. We're going to send Zion Williamson to one of them. He's going to go to IQ training just to get smarter off ball, on ball, and he gets a little bit of perimeter defense as well. Brandon Ingram, who we signed to a huge contract in order to match the Raptors offer this offseason, we're going to give him some training and some as well, try to build him up to be one of our stars, especially if he's going to be getting big time money. Now we simulate to the 2020-2021 season. We start off our season a home game against the Washington Wizards, the worst team in the Eastern Conference this past year. So that's how we're going to start off our day. But the NBA starts a day earlier with 2 great games, the Spurs and the Celtics, and then the defending champs battle in LA. But that's going to be next week. That's going to be next Tuesday. This Thursday, we're going to have one more preseason, preview kind of game before moving on to the season and get going. But thank you guys so much for watching this one. Make sure you like and subscribe down below if you want more Pelicans content, and tell me, how do you think the Pelicans are going to do this year? This is Mr. Rob, and I'm saying class is dismissed.